This is what we call our general scripting, right? So
Okay.
the question was, what do you do? First, you prepare. You prepare by building your initial script out. What's the first thing I'm going to say to you to take away that objection? And then your general scripting, which is what are my top 5 objections that I'm going to build questions around so that I can ask them in my fact finding phase, right? And then practicing them. Like I did a podcast this morning, and the gentleman said, yeah, but people, they get in this situation, they start sweating, and, and they get nervous. And I said, yes, but do you know where confidence comes from? Confidence comes from repetition of practice.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're sweating, it's because you haven't practiced what you're saying enough.
That's a good point.
Straight up. So once you figure out the opening, you figure out the objection questions, you figure out everything you're supposed to do, then you sit and you do it over and over and over and over. And as I like to say, I need to be able to wake you up out of your sleep and ask you a question and you rip an answer off.
Yep. It's
and
muscle memory.
When you're that automatic in the way you do it, then nobody's going to make you sweat, because no matter what your client says, you've done it 50 times or 100 times. You just know what you need to do.
Yeah.
So that's how you prepare.
Yeah, I love that. That's a huge piece in the practical doing. So if we wrap this part 1 up of selling your core product, what it seems like to me is all of this sort of culminates in building a sales team or a sales machine. Mm-hmm. That's going to help you extract the most value in each one of your selling opportunities. So your growth is going to happen both from top line revenue and bottom. And then as we move along, you're growing your company. Let's look at part 2, selling your company. You want to extract as much value from the market as possible. So how much do these techniques play in that part of the process as well?
So that's a gigantic question.
Yeah.
Right. To extract the most value, there's all kinds of things that go along with that.
Right.
Marketing, sales are both sides of the same coin. Mm-hmm. Marketing, sales have to work in conjunction with each other, from, acquisition cost to average revenue per sale to average profit per sale. Mm-hmm. One of the things we do with organizations is we build what we call bottom-up profit and loss statements. Most people look at an organization from the top down. Mm-hmm. I teach them how to look at it from the bottom up. In other words, if I have $1 million company and 10 salespeople, that means each salesperson has to do $100,000 of sales to get to my $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Which means all expenses in my company have to be divided by 10 and attributed to each one of my 10 salespeople. Mm-hmm. So each salesperson now has their own personal profit and loss statement attached to them. Mm. And when I build that matrix out, I can now determine whether each one of my salespeople are profitable or they're not profitable. And once I do that, I can start extracting the ones that aren't, moving lead opportunities to the ones that are, which generates higher revenue at higher mm-hmm. margins with less overhead, right? So this is how we start extracting value inside.
Yeah, I love that framework.